The film begins with Valerie, who is a very good motivational speaker and is also famous all over the world. Everyone gets hope from her words, but no one knows what kind of pain she is going through. Every night she has nightmares as if someone is pulling her into the water. She has not understood the reason for all this till date. Well, after that we come to know about Valerie's family that her mother-in-law has already died. Her father is still unknown and she has a husband who loves her very much. Today a letter came for her from her village, which made her mood very bad. She was filled with sadness. She decided to meet her friend, but even that did not make any difference in her mood. She had been noticing some changes in herself for a long time, like she was starting to have a lot of headaches. At that time, she also took birth control pills along with her birth control pills, it seems. Well, today, even after taking medicine, when her desire did not decrease, she got worried and started searching about her itching on the internet and seeing the results she saw. She got very scared and she closed her laptop. Now, with the military, there was another very strange thing. There were many in her house. Where did it come from? Where was it going? Valor had no idea. While chasing these peaks, Valor saw a whole house made of ants inside her house. When she looked inside, there were many ants inside, which scared her. Well, she saw it the next day. Valor had to go for an international tour now, for which she needed a birth certificate. When she looked in her documents, she did not have a birth certificate. It was with her mother, for which she went to her father. Actually, she had to ask her father about the box that her mother had left for her. But here, she started talking a lot about her mother because she missed her mother very much. Her eye told her the address of a local where the box was kept. When she went to the dam, here if Valerie and her eye saw that the box was missing from. Here, both of them were worried. So Valerie's aunt said that maybe your uncle came here and took the box. This could also be the case. Valerie leaves everyone and comes home, and even today her head was so exhausted at home that she was scratching her head with both hands like a madman, and her husband sitting next to her also started to find this habit of hers very strange. November 8th, 2024. The Federal Reserve raised the benchmark interest rate by 0.25%, marking its fourth increase this year to combat high inflation. The Fed chair stated this measure aims to control rising prices and support economic stability. Buller does not understand his illness. He did not understand the disease until now. Maybe he has this genetic. His mother will also have it, and now he has it. For now, he had to focus on his international tour, so he decided to meet his grandfather, and before going, he wore a cap on his head so that he would not be exposed to people. He came to the village and met his grandfather, who was previously a Solarian. He had now become a monk. Floring asked him, "Do you know about the box that the bomb left for me?" Then he said, "No, I do not know anything about it." In the next room, there was also a very cheap painting hidden. When Millar asked about this painting, his grandfather started telling him the story of an ant named Sanchi. Sanchi was a parasite that lived with humans and fed on their super cool power. The person she takes over stays with that person until they finish him off. Well, she didn't come here to get information about all these things, so before leaving, she steals her food and wants to go to their locker without asking them. There, she didn't find the box that she had left for him in. Her campaign. But yes, she definitely found his birth certificate, from which she started leaving from here. She heard the sound of a small child crying in the warehouse, and she felt as if the child had drowned in water. She followed the sound, so she reached a storeroom. There were also many insects inside the storeroom. She tried to sit down and look at them, but she felt like she was being grabbed from behind. She rubbed her hands on her dirty clothes before they could run. She looked back and saw that it was the pier here, meaning that at that time she had these hallucinations. Ballerin was very happy after coming home. What happened to her today was something that had never happened before. She started looking at the things she had brought from her scolding. There were old pictures of her family, her grandfather and her mother from the time when her father was a soldier and her mother was a very beautiful woman. Seeing all this, Valerie realized that she still did not know how her mother died. In the pictures, Valerie noticed a similar allergy mark on her mother's hand that she had seen on the internet while researching her allergies. And from here she was confirmed that when she was sick today, her mother had also had it before, and it was related to her mother, Valerie. This illness had made her very irritable. She did not even behave well with her husband Ruby anymore. She was very irritable. Today she had decided that she would not be herself tonight. This time, he wore a turban on his hands. And it was no use asking Colony what did Dad do about all this? They didn't tell her anything about Dad. They just said that you stay away from your dad. After some time, Billy had to go for a photo shoot where she saw someone else standing with her shadow in the headlights, which made her very angry. But she didn't let anyone express her feelings. She came home now, and even after coming home, she was still getting headaches. She had so much discharge in her head that blood came out, and Frappy also noticed this blood. In this way, she lied to Robin that no, there was nothing like that. They make an excuse about this lie, and as soon as she opened the medicine drawer, her husband was there. Her breath control plus was visible, so as soon as she saw it, a fight had started between her and Ruby. Till Rebby was angry, she was shouting at herself. She said to Roby, "Okay, you stay away from me, this is 72, and thus their relationship started to break down. Valerie was now living alone in her room, so she thought that every night she would not be her head. 80, so it was not night. She tied her hands and slept. But when she woke up in the morning, she was worried because her hands had been opened, and she had also drawn blood from her scalp. She now understood that something else was involved in whatever was happening to her because she could not open her hands herself. It was confirmed that someone else had opened her hands at night. As soon as she woke up, she again noticed many ants in her house. She got worried and chased these ants and reached their house. She wanted to see. What are these ants doing? So she started breaking the wall of her house, and then her house was attacked. My brother saw that he was having visions. After that, he was very worried about Valerie. He said that you were not picking up my calls. So he came to me in worry, so this time, he should tell Valerie something. Wanted. They start the conversation with Valerie's wax. They tell that your wax was a very good person, and today I will tell you how she died. Years ago, I was a soldier, and I killed an enemy soldier of mine. She was a girl. I don't know what power she had inside her that after her death. She came inside me, and because of me, she got connected with your wax. I found out that she is a Sanji, and when I came to know this, I tried very hard to get rid of this century. Parasite of your wax, but I failed. Then you were born, and then that Sunda parasite came inside you and with you. I know that these days very strange things are happening, and Sind is behind all of them. Willie and Vicky knew that Willie would do a lot of racket after knowing all these things. 80. So they mixed sleeping pills in her tea, which made Gulray go 100 right there. And when she woke up, she immediately remembered all those things. And now, she started searching about the death of her campaign. She finds many park cuttings and things in her own house, in which it is clearly written that her mother-in-law was murdered after that. Hearing this, she broke down. Suddenly, it starts raining. When Bullray goes up to close the windows of her house, then she sees her mother-in-law's wings outside the window. She starts seeing everything that happened that day when her mother-in-law died. She saw that her mother-in-law was suffering, and her father was forcibly dipping her in water, and just like that, her mother-in-law died. As soon as Valerie sees her father-in-law's face, she immediately takes her mother-in-law to her father-in-law to get revenge. When she goes to his house, she scatters all her belongings and asks her friend, "Why did you hit my mother?" She says, "I didn't hit your mother. I wasn't saving her from that truth, but that truth was very strong, and I fought with that truth in every way." But she didn't believe her words. She told him, "Your mother actually wanted to play you with that truth, and in 80 rounds she took her own life, but even after death she failed in her goal. She couldn't save you from that truth. And now that truth is with you, and to save your life, it is very important that this truth ends. Now these things." She had not written them down. She leaves her seat and goes back home. The next day, she had a seminar. The biggest seminar of her life was an international tour. She didn't want to be made fun of in front of everyone. She had to scratch her head in front of everyone. So, in the 80s, he put a tape on his head and his show started. There were a lot of people here, and the ratings were very high. He called a girl and started his speech. He made the girl stand in front of the mirror and told the people that until you recognize the real you inside, you can't do anything. When Valerie put her finger in her head wound, she unknowingly touched her brain. As soon as the finger hit her brain, she suffered a concussion and she fell to the ground unconscious. Thankfully, Ruby was home at the time. She immediately saw Valerie's deteriorating condition and rushed her to the hospital. Valerie's life was saved by timely medical attention. But the danger was not over. Sanchi was still with her. The dark atmosphere of the hospital made Sanchi's presence even more obvious. He was constantly harassing Valerie, sometimes hitting her head and forcing her to scratch, and sometimes torturing her in painful ways. But Valerie had changed now. She wasn't scratching, she wasn't screaming. Instead of being afraid, she wanted to face the truth. As Valerie began to face her fear, her condition began to improve. Sanchi's control began to weaken. Ruby also played a big role in this transformation, who was taking special care of Valerie these days. He would forbid her from touching her head because Valerie's skin had been severely damaged by the itching. She had even been unable to walk and was learning to walk in a new way. Ruby tied Valerie's hands while she slept so that she could not harm herself. But when he woke up in the morning, Valerie's hands were open, and she had scratched her head again. She also had a pair of scissors lying next to her, which Ruby thought might have been Valerie's own hands and had hurt her. Ruby's heart was broken. He was not ready to understand that it was not Valerie, but Sanchi who was doing all this. In anger, he left Valerie and left. Valerie was left alone. She was broken, shattered. Now she needed some support. She started watching her motivational videos to get some encouragement. At that moment, she decided that now she would fight Sanchi, herself. She anesthetized Ruby and went to one of her rooms, where the walls were lined with mirrors. There, she screamed loudly, "Who are you? Come forward! What do you want from me?" After a while, a terrifying hand came out of one of the mirrors and grabbed her from behind. It was Sanchi, now revealed to Valerie. Sanchi put a knife to Valerie's neck and said, "I won't leave you!" Valerie screamed. Ruby also regained consciousness and freed herself from the bed and rushed towards Valerie. Valerie, on the other hand, had decided to take the extreme step. She wanted to cut off her hand so as not to harm herself further. She put her hand under the cutter, but she couldn't bring herself to do it. After trying several times, finally, she controlled herself, closed her eyes, and put her hand under the machine. The cutter cut her hand, blood splashed down her face. She was in agony, but she knew that it was all necessary. After stopping the bleeding, when she started to cut the other hand, Sanchi appeared from behind and grabbed her. But Valerie was not afraid anymore. He cleverly stuck Sanchi's hand into the cutter. The cutter's scream echoed, but Sanchi, instead of dying, started regenerating his body. Valerie was really scared to see this. She started to run out of the room, but Sanchi stopped her and said, "Now I will not leave you alive." Valerie replied, "Now there is no one to escape." Saying this, she dragged herself to the pool of water and jumped into the water without any fear. Sanchi also followed her into the water, but the water was her biggest enemy. He started to suffer. Valerie tried to stop him by holding his hand. Then she remembered the truth. That's why her mother had jumped into the water, so that Sanchi could be killed. Her mother was not murdered, but sacrificed. On the other hand, Ruby had reached the pond. She also jumped into the water and saved Valerie. When they both came out of the water, Ruby saw a black baby in Valerie's hand. It was Sanchi's weakened form, dissolved in the water. Valerie is shown now the mother of a small child. Her severed hand has been reattached, and she is happily feeding her son. But as the camera pans to the child's face, we see a faint black line. Is Sanchi really gone? Or will he return in another form?